or purpose of evasion,
and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter?
I do. To be standing before all of you, the citizens of Fresno. I'm grateful for the opportunity that God has given me to serve as the mayor of this great city, a city that I love, and a city that I protected as a police officer for 40 years. It is truly an honor and a privilege, and I'm humbled. I'm also thankful today to have my family with me. My two children who administered the oath of office, my daughter-in-law Elise, my son-in-law Corey, to be able to have my wife Diane with me. We've been married 40 years. We've been together since our freshman year in high school. And she's been my rock. And I'm so grateful for her in my life. And I'm thankful to have my mom and my dad here with me today. Anna and Dawn, they have been pillars in my life and are the ones that truly have taught me a strong work ethic. And my sister, who has been my protector, my bigger sister, Diane, is with me as well. It's tough growing up with your sister being Diane Dyer and now my wife Diane Dyer. And oftentimes they confuse the two, but I always say my wife is the nicer one. And I'm blessed to be able to have my grandchildren. I have 5 grandchildren, Aiden and Declan and Sawyer and Trinity and Charlotte, the newest addition. And I want to, before I get into my comments, I want to say thank you to Lee Brain, the outgoing mayor of this city. Lee has sacrificed greatly in Planning Commission, City Council, as the mayor of this city. He has served this community extremely well. And I want to say thank you, Lee, for all of the assistance that you've given me during this time of transition in opening up City Hall so that I could truly understand and learn the mayor's office. I also want to thank you for the financial stability that you have given us with a $35 million reserve. It's so important to us as a city as we go forward. There's no doubt there's been some challenging times this past year in our city and across America. We face the pandemic. We have seen, unfortunately, social unrest in our city and across this country, as well as yesterday at our U.S. Capitol. We've experienced fires, the creek fires in our backyard that have devastated families and taken homes. And over the last year, we've seen skyrocketing crime rates within our community that has been talked about. There's been many lessons learned along the way. We've learned to appreciate those things in life that we previously took for granted. We've learned the importance of listening and accepting the views of others. We've learned to appreciate family. We've learned to appreciate our health, and we've learned to appreciate our freedoms. And it's unfortunate that we have seen businesses forced to close their doors and never to open again. We have seen unemployment numbers skyrocket, causing people to stand in food lines for the first time in their lives. And far too many, like Tyler Maxwell, has seen a loved one pass away as a result of COVID. And it appears the worst is yet to come with the most recent surge, which has overwhelmed the hospitals, our morgues, and our funeral homes. The vaccine cannot come fast enough. As such, I'm committed to working closely with county health officials to ensure the vaccine is distributed timely to first responders and to our most vulnerable population in our community. I'm also committed to do all that we can as a city to prevent the unnecessary spread of COVID-19 as we safely reopen business in our city as well as schools. I spent the last 10 months since being confirmed into office listening, going on a learning tour, in addition to what I learned walking precincts throughout our city. I believe I have a good sense as to what the people of Fresno and this city truly want. They want a city that is united and not divided. Regardless of skin color, income levels, zip codes, or political party, they want one Fresno. And that is what I'm going to provide to the citizens of this community. They want us to set aside our petty politics and do the right thing for the right reason for the people of Fresno. They want us to be inclusive, to be prosperous, to have a beautiful city where people take pride in their neighborhood and their community. They want a government that listens, keeps its promises, and a government that is owned by the people. They want a culture at City Hall that says, we work for you. And that is exactly what they're going to get. We are going to deliver that to them as a city. We're going to begin with an initiative called Housing the Homeless. You know, it's unfortunate that we have people who are unfortunate falling on hard times. They're out in our community, who are homeless, living in our neighborhoods, living on our freeways, which we cannot allow. We're going to begin our Housing the Homeless effort on our freeways. I've been working over the last several months with the governor's office as well as Caltrans and CHP, and we are going to be relocating those individuals from the freeway into housing beginning this month. And I am anticipating within the next 45 days to 60 days, our freeways will not have homeless people on them. I've had several conversations as of late with a number of our council members and have taken into consideration many of the things that they say. And there's one thing we all agree on. We've lost our curb appeal as a city. And so a second initiative that we will be launching is called Beautify Fresno. This will be a very comprehensive, sustained initiative that will allow us to take all of the resources that we have in the city that touch some form of beautifying this city. Whether it's our sidewalks, our streets, picking up litter, the graffiti abatement, we're going to be merging all of those different functions under one department in the city, and we're going to be working closely with many of our allied agencies so that we can restore the curb appeal in Fresno, because there's no question we've lost our curb appeal. I'm working with council so that we can identify those neighborhoods that are most in need, neighborhoods unfortunately have been left behind. And we're going to be conducting what's called neighborhood blitzes, taking all of our resources along with volunteers into those neighborhoods and restoring them. The third thing is that Fresno remains number 2 in poverty in the state of California. We must grow our economy. Our high unemployment rates historically have caused people to be out of work and forced them to be on public subsidies. We have to create inclusive economic development in our city, and we will. You see, we're in the heart of California, in the center of 40 million people. We do not have the traffic congestion of many big cities. We have an available workforce, and with that, all of those things, we have truly the ability to rebound faster than any other city in our state when it comes to economic development. In the next 30 days, I'll be working with the County of Fresno so that we can agree upon a tax sharing agreement. I see Mr. Brandau here. That is important, that we might be able to continue annexation of property into the city. And that annexation will allow us to have industrial development and increased housing. It's important that we have our South Central specific plan put in place with an environmental impact study that will allow us to continue with our industrial development and in turn provide jobs to our city. And I will be initiating over the next 30 days a review of our business processes in the city of Fresno, examining our culture, our business model, and the resources that are needed so that we can expedite inspections and the plan checks and the permitting that unfortunately far too often cause delays in our business environment in Fresno. I am committed to creating a red carpet concierge service for people who come to City Hall, because people who come to City Hall want to see a yes mindset, and they want a culture that says, we work for you, and we're going to provide that to them. We're also going to have a refocused, or a renewed focus, I should say, on our downtown development. You know, far too often our downtown has been left behind. And the truth is, great cities have great downtowns. And we're going to make sure downtown Fresno is great. We're going to increase the housing population in downtown Fresno from 3,000 people to 10,000 people so that we can sustain a nightlife in our downtown area. And that is going to be through mixed use and through having an entertainment venue downtown, not only at Chachansey Park, but at our convention center, where it is my hope that we're able to have professional soccer restored. And one of the first orders of business for me is next Monday is to swear in our new police chief for the city of Fresno, Chief Paco Valderrama. This last year, we've seen violent crime rate skyrocket in our city. The first 4 days of this year, we saw 5 murders in our city. Last year, we had far too many homicides, 74 murders in the city of Fresno, eclipsing the prior years. 300 and over 330 shootings in our city last year. That's 360 more shootings than we had the year before. Coming from a law enforcement background, that is something that is so important to me, and I know it's important to everyone in Fresno. I was on the phone this past Sunday with Paco Valderrama so that he would establish a violent crime reduction strategy that will reduce gang violence and violence overall in this city. And you will be hearing more about that this coming week. I'm also working with Chief Valderrama to pursue the implementation of the 73 recommendations that have been provided to us by the Commission on Police Reform. It is so important that we take the things that we've learned from our community members and implement them in the Fresno Police Department so that we can have a better department and a department that people will trust. And I am committed to working with the council to implement those recommendations, but I'm also committed to working with the council to add whatever additional resources we need in the Fresno Police Department so that we can ensure the safety of our community, as well as to ensure that the duties that they're performing are the duties that they need to perform. And other duties will be shifted to folks who are more able and more capable of doing this. In the next 45 days, I'll be working with council to establish an oversight committee for those police recommendations. And last, but certainly not least, our youth of today want their voices heard and should have their voices heard because our youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. And I plan on giving them an opportunity to have their voice heard by establishing a Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, by having youth forums beginning with this coming week when I'll be meeting with YLI. I had a conversation with their leadership last night, but I want to hear from them. They are solution-oriented, they are creative, and they are the future of our city. And in closing, I want to say this. You know, I learned a lot over the last 10 months since being elected to be the mayor of this city. I've walked neighborhoods, I've sat down in living rooms with people who shared an opposing view to me, people that perhaps had different political beliefs. But after having a lengthy conversation with them and focusing on the things that are most common to us, we were able to come to an agreement that we want a beautiful city, we want a prosperous city, we want a government that works for the people, we want a government that is inclusive and not exclusive, and we want a government and a city hall that truly says, we work for you, the citizens of Fresno, and that's what we're going to provide. I've had many people over the last few months ask me, are you sure this is what you want? Is this what you signed on for? And the answer is yes, exactly. And yes, we have many, many challenges that lie before us. But I'm an eternal optimist. And I believe that we have many more opportunities than we do challenges. I am committed to working with our 7 council members and doing the very, very best not only for their districts, but for this entire community. I want to say thank you. God bless you. I appreciate you supporting me and allowing me to serve as your mayor. God bless you. Thank you. But, well, you know, I know between Tuesday and Wednesday, I worked about 35 hours. So it feels good to be back in the game. I mean that. So thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Thank you, Fresno.